Hello. I would like to talk about the single most bizarre incident that I have ever witnessed in my life connected with chemtrails. Now, back in October of 2008, a lady called Blossom Goodchild predicted the appearance of a vast spaceship, perhaps between the dates of October the 14th and October the 16th. And I was very keen to see if I could see anything. So on the night of October the 13th, I was sitting on a balcony in Hampton on the outskirts of London, where I had a very good view of the sky and there was very little light pollution, and there was an awful lot of chemtrails that evening. And as evening drew in and the light faded, the chemtrails remained, and there was a full moon the next night. So this night the moon was very, very bright and a very clear sky, and these chemtrails were sitting there in the sky. Bizarre enough, just that. But as the evening drew on, the chemtrails, instead of having a slightly wavy outline, their outlines grew, well, very straight, almost like they'd been cut off with a knife or made with a ruler. And as I sat there with a friend, we both noticed that it was a little bit strange that these chemtrails were lying there in the sky in front of us in this almost perfect geometric shape of a rectangle. And that's when I began to get suspicious, thinking there is some intelligence behind this. I wasn't convinced it was anything to do with Blossom Goodchild's prediction. I was more convinced that it was to do with the military. And I started to get a little bit worried at that point, but what was to come completely threw me. These chemtrails then started pinching in on themselves, and they turned into green lasers. And, you know, I hadn't been abusing any substances or any alcohol. I was perfectly straight and perfectly terrified, convinced that it was a military operation, and that the whole of London would have seen this. And so I watched it for a little while longer, but basically I was too upset and too frightened of what was going on, and it felt like there was a huge vibration happening, a huge frequency that was ringing in my ears. And so most of the time I just kept running inside thinking, what on earth is going on? My simple explanation to myself was that we were under some kind of attack. And so there you have it. These chemtrails on the night of October the 13th manipulated themselves into tight green laser beams. And the fact that I've mentioned this to a lot of people and no one else seems to have seen this, and I'm sure there must be someone out there who was looking at the sky that night looking for what Blossom Goodchild, you know, had predicted, and saw what I saw. But so far I've come across no one that saw anything. And as far as I'm concerned, Blossom Goodchild was entirely correct in her prediction, and there was a vast cobweb of intelligence in the sky that night. It didn't appear as some great flying saucer, which if you think about it would be a bit ridiculous. It came through chemtrails. So all I can suggest is that chemtrails are something to do with extraterrestrial intelligence, possibly in conjunction with the government of this planet. But I would also like to suggest that chemtrails are not entirely a bad thing, and as much as it's easy to think that it's just weather control or population control or protection from global warming, I would like to put across the idea that they are more powerful and more bizarre than anyone can possibly imagine. And I would say, love chemtrails. If you go around getting negativity off chemtrails, then that's not the way forward, is it? The way forward is to see that there is some vast meaning in this chemtrail program that we were shown a glimpse of between those dates. I also saw it again. I tried to put it out of my mind because it upset me too much what I saw on the 13th, and it was cloudy on the 14th and 15th. On the 16th I put it out of my mind totally and forgotten about it, and I was just having a drink in a pub, went out for a cigarette, and there it was again, huge great straight lines, and they started flickering and pinching in on themselves. So I ran into the pub and started screaming, "Oh my God, we're under attack!" And everyone just looked at me like I was mad, and the manager of the bar came over to me and said, "I'm afraid you're going to have to leave." And I said, "No, look, there's something really weird going on in the sky." So he came out and had a look, and he did agree that it did look very strange, and he then agreed to let me back in the pub, but told me I wasn't allowed to shout anymore. But really, what I'm after is to meet somebody else who saw this. It was visible to the whole of London, but people, it seems like people were so conditioned that they were just aeroplane lines that they couldn't waste any time to look at it for more than 2 seconds. Because I was staring at it for a few hours, I don't know, maybe it just made my head go funny, but as far as I'm concerned, there's something very odd to do with chemtrails that I've not heard before, and I'd be very interested if anybody else has seen what I saw. And the coincidence is that it only happened on those nights. It's never happened again. It just happened on the nights that Blossom Goodchild predicted this intelligence would make itself visible. So there you go. Thank you very much. My name's Michael Tyack and I live in London. Thank you.